So,
It's acrylic, by
is
the
this
way.
one of your earlier pieces?
This is a painting that was done, I would say, about 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
And how about this one?
This little painting here, as we were talking before about Ferdinand Leger.
Yes.
Can you get that?
And how long ago did you do that?
Lance Armstrong had won the Tour de France. This is the first time. And I thought, and the French were very upset with us.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought it would be rather humorous if I did a French tribute. And so Ferdinand Leger was a very famous painter and French painter. And these are called the bicyclists. I can't say it.
Bicycle.
Bicyclists. And so I thought I would do this and as a tribute to Lance Armstrong. And I have another one which is in black and white, except that the yellow shirt is painted on him. But this was more like the traditional things.
No, well,
and just to show you that I can work in and this is gouache. That's opaque watercolor. It's as opposed to transparent watercolors, and it's done on rag paper.
Very interesting. And you have a sketch here.
Oh. We were talking before about. I was going to say this plow. This is the latest one. This was done this year, and this is this plow is on a farm wall tractor, and that's a rollover plow, as opposed to this one. This is the more modern, and this is done in acrylic, and this is done in gouache, which is opaque watercolor.
Great. And what's in front of it?
The one in front of it is. I thought it would be apropos.
That's not me, is it?
Well, unless you broke my heart. I did that for Valentine's Day because I thought Valentine's Day is coming up, and this is how I dealt with the woman that broke my heart. Oh. And so I have her as Superwoman breaking through a heart.
Oh. Well, at least you have a humor with it.
Well, see, I'm a visual person, so I take out my grief and. Or I eat, which is one of the reasons I'm so heavy.
Oh, well, that's very nice. I like that.
But you also have to have a sense of humor.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't sell that yet.
Well,
I'm sure after this show, somebody will buy it.
Then I'll have to give you a commission.
Oh, okay, I don't mind. And let's go on to the next painting.
The one on the bottom, or right here, is done in, this is transparent watercolor except for the whites, which the tree was downed in a storm, and it's over by Fresh Pond. Excuse me.
Close enough.
No, it was over by the art barge, and it's on the beach. And it just wasn't white enough, so everything else is transparent in the watercolor. And the reason is that you can build up your colors with transparent watercolors. You put a light wash and you can build through them, because the color can be seen through it. And
you must have taught painting at one time.
I've taught painting.
Yeah.
But I also realized that you have to know your medium. You write music and you teach music, so you have to know about music in order to be able to teach
Well, you
music.
know a lot of things.
And the thing is that...
That's very, very nice.
But I also am interested in the landscape and doing these because when I was in college, I used to do architectural renderings of buildings for money. And in the 50s, when I went to college, I used to get $250 for a watercolor rendering of a building, which would help sell the building. And $250 in the 50s was a lot of money.
I know it was, yes.
And it helped me go through college. And I felt that if I'd learned all of that technique, that I shouldn't be able to lose that technique. But I did do a lot of abstract painting, which I threw away, and I'm sorry I did.
Oh, how could you do that? Throw away.
We
I
all get in
keep
that.
everything. I have things that I had written when I was 8 years old.
I believe.
Would you
I have some things that are that old, but I don't. I'm sorry I didn't keep my canvases because they were really beautiful abstracts, and more opaque abstracts, much like the West Coast painters, rather than Pollock, de Cluny, and Motherwell. But
And there's one more painting there.
right,
That's abstract.
That's abstract, and
Even I can tell.
and what that does is there are different types of perspective. And you have someone that grew up in East Hampton, and so I very well understand the different painters that are around here. And Willem de Kooning's paintings, he always wanted to keep things on a singular plane or in a two-dimensional area. Whereas someone like Franz Klein wanted to do things in more three-dimensional.
What about Donald Kennedy? What was
Well, that's
he
what I'm going to talk
thinking
about.
That one?
And this it's actually similar to the confetti that's fallen in the summertime. And it's just like a confetti. And the thing is, the overlapping planes are a form of perspective. So it's dimensional by the fact that the one is in front of the other. And when you're in front of this painting, it feels like you're inside it, and there's depth to the painting because the planes overlap each other. I could get into the technical aspects of it, but it's been bored to tears.
Did you give names to these paintings?
Well, this one has a very pedestrian name. This is called the Plow.
Yeah,
and that's called Rollover Plow, which is not.
Oh, and that's a broken heart.
Well, it's.
What about that one you did, the last one?
I call it ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Not the drug, but ecstasy, like having a beautiful time in the summertime when we have. You notice the colors are all pastels,
yes.
And
yes,
you know.
very.
And that's just I just call that abandoned. It's a tree that came down.
Abandoned. Very good name for it. Yes.
You know.
And do tell, what is this sketch? What's the significance?
Okay, this drawing. This is a drawing of the Parsons Forge in the Parsons Forge in Springs. And this build, I'm sorry, the drawing is 3 by 4 feet.
Yeah. So.
The drawing is 3 by 4 feet, and it's the building is just about to be moved.
Where
and the architect, they moved it to its present location, which is right next to Ashwell Hall. Oh. But if you notice here, there's a wire that goes here, and there's a framing square hanging on the wire that the carpenter left. We just found a place to hang it up, and it's done on a singular plane, so there's really no lineal perspective involved. So it's much similar to this, only it's done in a more realistic
What
venue.
prompted you to do that?
I love to draw. I draw every day. It's sort of like playing scales on a piano. It's something that if you don't do it every day, you just miss it.
That's true.
And the other thing is that it helps me do things like the one on the other side, which is one of my sculptures. This was shown at Elaine Benson's.
Yes, I see that. Who's standing there?
That's me, when I was younger and thinner.
Let's make a close. Can you put a close up there?
And
I'm always curious what people looked like when they were younger.
It's 15 feet tall and 3/4 of a ton. It's done in tubular steel. Mm-hmm. And I make my own sculpture. I don't farm it out to somebody else. And
did you need a ladder?
No, it was all done laying down, and then we built it up. We had to use a cement lifting truck, a truck to lift it up, to move it into place.
But you couldn't have done that in your home.
No, I did it over at Buzzy Hedges' studio because he had electric hoists, and we did the welding there. And it's painted in multicolors. And this concept, it's called signal response, and this is the central core and the signal cord.
You still have it?
Yes, it's still. I have to move it from Elaine Benson's because they're going to sell the gallery.
Oh my! Who knows that? Is that an inside
No,
information?
it's been up for sale for a while. But the only thing is, everything's cantilevered off the main core, and when you're in an airport, and you have your signal responses are heightened. You want to know where the plane is, where the exits are, where your tickets are, and so forth. And this is something to express that only in an abstract way, because it's an abstract thought. So I'm sorry to get so involved in it. But.
No, that's okay. I could tell why you really love doing it. I mean, you know everything about everything and the history and all that. That's very nice. So you have anything else in there?
I have other pieces,
we have a short time, so just if you want to explain everything, just this is the same.
This is another sculpture.
Oh,
the same way. Can I bring?
Well, I could show it.
Okay. And that's painted in such a way.
Yeah.
That that the dark areas on a dark sky. Disappear, and on a light sky, the dark areas disappear.
And so you also have this at home?
This is one at home, and it also was on the. It's a 5-part piece, and it was on the cover of. It was on the front yard of.
Did you ever have you must have had your painting on dance paper?
Never.
Never? How come?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
This is another painting, a sculpture, and that's a
sculpture.
It's called DNA. It's a heart. It's called a heart column, and it has heart DNA. And what it happens is this isn't when it's a helix. You know the DNA helix?
No.
Well, this is singular. So this is if you have a one-sided love affair.
Oh my gosh. So we have.
This is a heart made of keys. I'm sorry, the picture isn't.
Made of keys.
Yes, like house keys. And
just like I know somebody who makes art out of shoes.
Well, these are little house keys, and I made it into. This was shown at Rene Fatoui's, and it's been showed many times.
So wait a minute. We have very little time left, and I was very pleased to have you here. I know you for quite a few years, but I knew very little about you, especially your paintings. So I'm very glad that you came and you told me, and now I'm going to tell the world
Thank you,
all
Judy.
about you. And don't forget my commission when you
Absolutely.
sell things.
Be my pleasure.
And now I'm going to say goodbye. I always wave. Bye, everybody. I want to thank everybody, the crew, for helping me with this show. I can't do it without you. And we'll see you next week. And again, bye. You want to say bye?
Goodbye.
Over there.
Take care.
Over there. And next week, if they come, I have Lee Davis and I forget who else. The real Lee Davis is my director. The other Lee Davis is going to be my guest next week, and somebody else.
Love me, love.